Hey everybody, welcome back to Cloud Applications Development. Today we are going to be playing around with cloud storage from the Cloud Shell environment, and let's get going. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be using this Medium article that I came across because I thought it'd be fun to see what other people are doing outside of the Google infrastructure and the Google experts. So basically, we're just going to do some pretty straightforward commands with the Cloud Shell to create storage buckets to move things around and show you how you can interact with this effectively file storage type environment. And again, if you don't remember from the blog, the cloud storage is where we're going to be hosting our files. It's where we will host our scripts if we are deploying them to be run. Everything's effectively run from buckets. Yes, you do get a little bit of storage in your Cloud Shell, but that's provisioned as you need it. Storage buckets will persist for you. So I'm going to go ahead and move this off screen. I'll have the link in the description for you for that. But first and foremost, we need a project for this. And again, create a new project for each one of these demos so you don't ruin your account. Storage buckets. Let's go ahead and create that. Now, while we're going here, 4 and 30 characters. Is that more? Okay, good enough. 680 storage buckets. It'll be gone by the time you all get to this, so just make sure that it's unique. All right, first things first, let's go over to cloud storage. So in here, we are going to see our various projects. So if I were to go to my one project that was utterly blowing away my accounts, we're going to see a bunch of stuff in here for Cloud Composer, for AppSpot, various things that we probably have done in other videos, but turns out that there's something on in this account that just keeps killing my credits. So I'm just going to say goodbye to that project for now. But what do we see in here? We see the ability to create buckets. We look at our monitoring so that we can see what kind of bandwidth is occurring. I'm pretty sure I talked about this in another video already, but keep in mind if you just want to quickly check what is up and alive in your buckets, check the page. Should hopefully make sense. All right, first and foremost, let's create a bucket. Now, we do get a nice monthly cost estimate, which is probably something I should keep a better eye on as I'm doing these demos. But let's go ahead and call it CIS680 demo bucket. We want the cheapest, so we'll go region-based, default storage class, standard, uniform access. We're not doing too much craziness in here. Again, use fine-grained if you want to have, service account specific permissions on each bucket entity, uniform security policy applied throughout. And we'll leave Google to manage encryption by themselves. So we have our bucket. Good, good, good. We have something here. I could upload a file to it. Let's see, what do we have? What kind of fun stuff could I throw up here? Let's upload a paper that I recently had submitted. So we have a PDF. It's stored in a bucket. In theory, I could access this PDF from any Google managed service now. And with the correct permissions, I could access it externally as well. It is now hosted on a cloud file share. So we have done that. Good enough. What we can also do, let's get into our Cloud Shell. We can create a bucket programmatically this way as well. And again, I'm just kind of walking through this Medium article because it's got a lot of the basic commands that you need. Sometimes it's good to have a different perspective on it though. So we are going to use, and I think this might actually be the first instance of using this command in the Cloud Shell. We're going to use the gsutil command. I know, first time we're not using gcloud. I'm impressed too. What we're going to do is use gsutil to interact with their buckets. gcloud interacts with all the services, gsutil interacts with your buckets. And if we remember from, I think it was either day 1 or day 2, since this is all asynchronous, we used the bq command to interact with BigQuery, but let's do this. So MB GS : Fredericks, I can spell my own name, CIS680 bucket 2. This should be a globally unique name, meaning that it should not exist anywhere else. Adding on your last name in the course ID is probably a good way to ensure that. But if I go ahead and scroll down now, I go to my browser, there's 2 buckets. I didn't pass this thing any parameters, so it just used the default parameters. So multi-region, meaning that it's using multiple locations within the US. Everything else pretty much standard, whatever the default options are. Again, you can tweak that if you would like. What else can we do now? Let's go ahead and upload a file. So in here, so I click the little 3 dots, not quite a hamburger menu. Let's click upload file. And we can upload, let's upload a lab manual for the poor graphic students. All right, so we are now transferring our item. It is up. If I were to go ahead and do an ls, there's my PDF that I just uploaded, along with a bunch of other demo related stuff. So it is there. How do we copy it over? I guess I should mention too, when I ran that gsutil command, I used the MB, make bucket. What we're going to do now is gsutil cp, copy if you're a Linux fan, also works in PowerShell and now the DOS, I believe. Does DOS allow it? It's not even on my computer. Copy the file. So we're going to copy my PDF file, and then we're going to copy it over to Fredericks CIS680 bucket 2. Pretty straightforward copy command. Copy source to destination. In this case, destination is our bucket prefaced with effectively a URL type of interface here, right? So we have its protocol, : / knows where to send it. Copies it over. Click on my bucket here. There's my file. Again, accessible in our storage bucket. Honestly, so that is pretty much the end of the article that I was sharing with you for this. Again, not a very complicated type of setup. Use storage buckets in your applications for hosting your scripts. And if you are doing, say, deployments, you're running Cloud Build and Cloud Run, or if you're using App Engine, it's going to copy the scripts automatically to a storage bucket for you. If you want to host files, if you want to host a static website from cloud storage, that is something you can do. But again, this is kind of the catch-all location for your files. If you want them to be accessible everywhere, use a bucket. Really not that hard to access from your various scripts and from your various services. If you're within the Google ecosystem, it's very easily accessible. If you're outside of the ecosystem, you're going to have to authenticate yourself and then make sure that however you're authenticating that you have access to that file, the authorization step, but really not that hard to do. Anyway, hope this was useful for you. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.